gift from Matt and Karen was monies to help towards the air.
Amy Roloff learned Matt had more than a working relationship with his girlfriend before divorce. A story of trust, betrayal, and the slow unraveling of a public marriage. It wasn't a dramatic confrontation. There was no slammed door, no screaming match caught on camera, no paparazzi ambush outside a courthouse. What Amy Roloff learned, what she slowly, painfully pieced together over months, was quieter, more insidious, and in many ways, more devastating, that her husband of nearly 3 decades, Matt Roloff, had more than a working relationship with the woman who would eventually become his girlfriend while they were still married. This revelation didn't come in a single explosive moment. It didn't arrive via a text message or a tabloid headline. It seeped into her awareness like water under a door, subtle at first, then impossible to ignore. And by the time she fully understood what was happening, the foundation of her marriage had already begun to crack. Amy and Matt Roloff were, for many Americans, the face of enduring love in an unconventional package. As stars of TLC's hit reality series, Little People, Big World, they invited viewers into their sprawling Oregon farm, their family chaos, their triumphs and heartbreaks. They were parents, entrepreneurs, advocates, and above all, partners, or so it seemed. Their marriage, which began in 1987, weathered the storms of raising 4 children, building a tourist attraction out of their property, navigating the complexities of dwarfism in a world built for average height, and enduring the public scrutiny that comes with reality TV fame. But behind the farmhouse doors and curated camera angles, the Roloffs' marriage had been quietly deteriorating for years. Long before the divorce papers were filed in 2015, before the legal battles over the farm, before the awkward holiday specials and joint custody arrangements, there were signs. Signs Amy later admitted she chose to overlook, rationalize, or simply didn't know how to confront. One of those signs was Matt's growing closeness with Karen Chandler. Karen wasn't a stranger. She had worked on Roloff farms for years, managing guest relations, coordinating events, helping with day-to-day operations. She was part of the extended Roloff family, the kind of trusted employee who knew where the extra keys were kept and which kid preferred which flavor of ice cream at the farm stand. She was friendly, capable, and as Amy would later realize, increasingly inseparable from Matt. At first, Amy chalked it up to professional necessity. The farm was a business, after all. Matt and Karen worked long hours together. They traveled for promotional events. They problem-solved, strategized, and laughed over shared frustrations. It made sense that they'd grow close. Amy even encouraged it, believing that a strong team made for a stronger business. But then the boundaries began to blur. It was the little things. The way Matt's phone would light up with Karen's name during family dinners, and how he'd excuse himself to take the call outside. The inside jokes that only Matt and Karen seemed to understand. The way Karen began showing up at family gatherings uninvited, not as staff, but as something else. A presence, a fixture, a shadow that lingered just a little too close to Matt. Amy noticed. Of course she did, but she didn't, or couldn't, name what she was seeing. Not yet. In interviews years later, Amy would reflect on this period with a mix of sadness and clarity. "I think I knew," she admitted in a 2020 podcast episode. Not in a "I have proof" kind of way, but in that gut feeling, middle of the night waking up with a sense of dread kind of way. She described how she'd ask Matt about Karen, casually at first. "You two seem really close lately." Or, "Did Karen go with you to that meeting? You guys must spend a lot of time together." Matt's responses were always calm, reassuring, dismissive even. "Oh, she's just helping out," he'd say. "You know how it is, we're swamped." Or, "She's great at her job. I don't know what we'd do without her." Never defensive, never evasive, just neutral, which in its own way was more unsettling than anger would have been, because neutrality implies there's nothing to defend. And Amy, wanting to believe the best, wanting to believe in the man she'd built a life with, let it go. Again and again. The turning point came not with a confession, but with a pattern. Amy began to notice that Matt and Karen were traveling together more frequently, not just to farm-related events, but to conferences, dinners, even weekend getaways that had no clear business purpose. Once, Amy overheard Matt on the phone making hotel reservations for 2 rooms, he insisted. But when she later checked his credit card statement, something she says she only did out of mounting anxiety, not suspicion, she saw charges for a single room. She didn't confront him. Not then. She filed it away. Another piece of a puzzle she wasn't sure she wanted to complete. Then came the texts. Not illicit messages or romantic declarations, nothing that would hold up in court. But the tone, the frequency, the casual intimacy of good morning, smiley face, and thinking of you, and can't wait to see you tomorrow. Sent at odd hours. From his work phone to her work phone. But still, Amy later described reading those messages as like watching someone slowly erase your life while pretending they're just cleaning the whiteboard. What made it worse, what made it truly heartbreaking, was that Amy didn't lash out. She didn't scream. She didn't throw things or demand answers. She internalized it. She questioned herself. Was she being paranoid? Was she overreacting because she felt neglected? Was this just what happened after 27 years of marriage, that your partner's emotional energy naturally drifted elsewhere? She confided in a close friend who gently suggested she talk to Matt. Maybe it's nothing, the friend said. But if it's something, you deserve to know. So Amy did. She chose a quiet evening after the kids were in bed. No cameras rolling. Just the two of them, sitting at the kitchen table where they'd plan vacations and parent-teacher conferences and family budgets. She didn't accuse. She didn't cry. She simply said, Matt, I need to know what's going on with you and Karen. Because from where I'm sitting, it doesn't look like just co-workers. Matt's response, he didn't deny it. He didn't confirm it either. Instead, he sighed, a long, weary sound, and said, Amy, it's complicated. And that was it. No explanation. No apology. No reassurance. Just complicated. For Amy, that single word, complicated, was the moment the marriage truly ended. Because complicated meant there was something to complicate. Complicated meant the lines had been crossed. Complicated meant she wasn't imagining things. Complicated meant she was no longer his priority. In the months that followed, Amy moved through her days like a ghost. She kept showing up, to family events, to farm meetings, to filming schedules. She smiled for the cameras. She hugged her children. She made dinner. But inside, she was hollow. She later described this period as grieving while still living in the same house as the person you're grieving. Matt, for his part, didn't leave. Not immediately. He continued working with Karen, continued sharing inside jokes, continued making plans that didn't. Amy Roloff and Matt Roloff divorced in 2016 after 27 years of marriage. In her new book, A Little Me, Amy, 54, alleges that Matt, 57, was involved with his current girlfriend Karen Chandler while the little people, big world stars, were still married. Prior to dating Matt, Chandler was a longtime employee at Roloff Farms in Hillsboro, Oregon, where the TLC family show is based. Matt was spending more and more time at the tavern he often frequented in the evenings after filming and working on the farm, and our farm manager seemed to be around more and more often as well. What, if anything, was going on? Amy writes in her book, Then it dawned on me. Matt and our farm manager, who had been working for us a number of years by then, seemed to have more than just a working relationship or friendship. I saw messages, pictures, and other things that should not have been shared between people who just worked together and were still married to other people, she writes. I was devastated. Amy later writes, In hindsight, I know I should have said something right away, but I didn't. I was scared and ashamed anything remotely like this could be happening. Was Matt really interested in someone else right in front of me? Why would he even go there when we were still married? Matt and Chandler did not respond to people's request for comment. Little People Big World returns for season 14. Inside Matt and Amy Roloff's separate lives. After 27 years of marriage and 4 children together, they share twins Jeremy and Zach, both 29, daughter Molly, 25, and youngest son Jacob, 22. The TLC stars finalized their divorce in April 2016. Earlier this year, the mother of 4 got candid about the end of her relationship with Matt in multiple Facebook Live videos filmed with her friend Lisa Dixon, when she opened up about the problems in their marriage and alleged that Matt and Chandler were involved before she split from her ex. When you know you have issues and you know you have problems, whether it be on your side or another side. I think when you start looking before you're separated of marriage, that is hard. I mean, when you become involved or much more than just a friend, but you become maybe more in a relationship that's more than just a, hey, hi friend, let's go out for coffee type of thing. I think that can be hard on the other person as well, Amy said in a video filmed on March 31st. And I think that's what happened in my case. You know, we have someone that worked for us for a very, very long time on our farm, and I believe, this is all from my perspective, you know that there was more than just friends going on. And I think that evolved to a point where that got in the way of our marriage as well, she continued. Amy went on to assure viewers that while she's not upset that Matt has found happiness with Chandler, she was pained to learn how she believes their relationship began. It's not that I'm sad that Matt has found someone. I think it is more about how it evolved, how it happened, how it began. I think that's what hurt, and unfortunately may have, through an edited show, caused me to be a little bitter, may have had me come across as being a little more angry. It was hard, I'll be frank. It was tough. It was a process for me, and it will be a process for a little bit longer to get through, she continued. Thank you guys for watching the show. Keep watching. I hope you keep watching. There's great stories from Zach, Tori, and Jackson, and I think the journey of Chris and I, and obviously you'll also see the journey of Matt and Karen. I'm slowly embracing that for many different reasons, she said. While she admitted, I'm not jealous or bitter. Amy did admit, I will absolutely be frank with you guys. I think it was hard, and sometimes it's still hard for me to see them just because they both were, and obviously Karen was so much a part of my world in a different context. And then now to see that, well, a long time prior to separation, prior to divorce, and in whatever capacity. But you know, life goes on, and I will allow myself that time to embrace it. But I am happy that if Matt is happy, he's happy. And if I'm happy, I'm glad that I'll be happy, said Amy. She added about her and Matt's marriage. It's just something that didn't work, and you know, I'm still sad about it because I will always be sad about divorce. I'm totally on page that there are seasons that you go through a relationship, just like there are seasons that you go through being a mom. But that doesn't mean as a mom it's like, okay, you're not working out for me, I'm checking out. There can't be a checkout time. So relationships, you know, unfortunately a lot more than I think should have checkout times, and they get divorced and stuff. Some marriages and some relationships, they need to be divorced, but I think there's also just as many that relationships take work. When a fan went on to directly ask whether Amy believes Matt was cheating on her, Amy replied, you know what, I can't say that. You know, there's definitely things, you know, more than just a guy and a girl friendship. But you know, it happened. Although the divorce was hurtful to Amy, she's choosing to be respectful about the split for the sake of her famous family. I think in the long run, for the sake of my kids, for the sake of my grandkids, I think we remain respectful, and I think I want my kids to be happy for us and also be willing to be at both houses. So that would be my dream, because obviously it would be very, very sad to me if suddenly they didn't want to come to my house because of who I'm with, she said. Responding directly to a fan, Amy said that she's not sad for herself over how things turned out post-breakup. I'm not sure why you're sad for me. Sometimes people get over divorce very easily, and I am over the divorce. But I think divorce is also you lost something. Something didn't work out that you thought, expectations that it would. So, I'm not sure why you may be sad, but I'm not sad for me. Since her divorce from Matt more than 3 years ago, Amy has embraced her singleness, become a grandmother, and found love with boyfriend Chris Merrick. And although she's uncertain about what the future looks like, she's relying on her faith as she navigates the journey. Life is moving on. I've got a lot of great things going on. I've got a good relationship. I've got good friends around me and good community, Amy said. Life may feel a little bit uncertain sometimes, but I put it in God's hands. My faith puts it in His hands, and I just hope I do the best I can to follow Him.